Hello, I'm Brian Dodgen. I'm going to show you in this video how to access and download data from the 1958 Birth Cohort Study, also known as the National Child Development Study, or NCDS. The data are held at the UK Data Archive, which is administered by an organisation called the UK Data Service. The data are freely available to researchers for non-commercial use in any discipline. So here we are at the UK Data Service website, and as you'll see, there are 5 listed categories of data in this bottom left-hand corner. We click Longitudinal Studies. And here we see a list of all the longitudinal studies. Scrolling down, we come to National Child Development Study, NCDS. And this is the NCDS specialist page. And under data access here, you see there are 3 types of access. Forget about the 4th category to start with, that's not particularly an access requirement. The first type of access is the standard end user license, and that is most data sets you'd be likely to want. There they all are, all the sweeps, all the main sweeps there have been. And it's important to note that under the end user license, it requires you to preserve the confidentiality of and not attempt to identify individuals or households or organizations in the data. And the smallest geographical area in this category is UK region. Then, going down to the second category, these are data sets under a special license, such as records of deaths, biomedical data, and the finer geographical level of local authority. The special license access requires that you state your purpose in using the data, and it requires a kind of counter signature from your host institution. And finally, there are the secure access data sets, including data at a more detailed geographical level, such as wards, parliamentary constituencies, or census upper output areas. And that you can only access these data sets in a secure environment organized via the UK Data Service. So you can't download these because of the danger of identifying individuals. But you can access them via a secure line. Going back to the main list of NCDS datasets, we see that each adult sweep has its own study number. So the most recent one, age 55, is 7669, 2013. And the earlier ones are here. So they're all available separately for download. In contrast, the childhood dataset, this one here, 5565, combines the data from the birth sweep with the childhood follow-ups at NCDS 1, age 7, NCDS 2, age 11, and NCDS 3, age 16 years old, in 1974, combines them all into one longitudinal dataset with a unique study number 5565. Now, all the main sweeps, up to and including age 55, 2013, contain one main flat file with one line of data for each participant present at that sweep. So these flat files are straightforward to merge together longitudinally using the unique case identifier NCDS ID. So that is one variable which is present in every single one of these separate data files. So those flat files have a variable containing the direct answer to each and every question we've ever asked people. There are sometimes additional files. NCDS 4 here contains an extra file showing exam results, since it's the first adult sweep after most participants have left full-time education. NCDS 5 here, 1991, the age 33 sweep, contains 2 extra data sets, one showing details of partners of the participants, and one with the results of a sub-study where the children of 1 in 3 mothers were asked to complete cognitive tests, and their parents were asked questions about their children's behaviour. NCDS 8, age 50, this one here, contains an extra file called unfolding brackets, which still has the simple format of one line of data for each participant, but contains a series of categorical variables stating whether different measures of income were within certain boundaries. So this is used to provide income data for those who can't give an exact amount. At least they are invited to say, well, is it between 25 and 30,000, etc. Finally, the most recent age 55 dataset, this one here, Sweep 9, has a flat file and 8 additional files. It's got an unfolding brackets dataset and also special files dealing with qualifications, relationships, derived variables such as social class, household person grid, housing, employment, and any child deaths. Some of these, for instance, employment and child deaths, contain more than one line of data per participant, since they're dealing with multiple records, for instance, successive relationships, relating to the same person. There's a useful dataset here at the top, the response and outcomes dataset. This shows for each sweep whether participants responded at that follow-up or not, and subdivides the non-respondents into why they were a non-respondent. For instance, could they not be contacted because they were untraced or not at home, or did they refuse to continue, or had they emigrated or died? It also identifies the participants included as immigrants at ages 7, 11 and 16 years, because remember that anybody born in the requisite week, 1958, but not in the UK, was included up to age 16 if they came to Britain later. All these screens we've shown so far can be browsed by anyone without having an account with the UK Data Service. If you're undecided about exactly which of the datasets to download, you can explore the variables further without an account using the Nestar software. That's this Access Online box with the coloured ticks. For instance, if we go to NCDS 9 and click Access Online, we get a view of all the variables in Sweep 9. We click Variable Description, and then we click Flat File Dataset, and then within that we see all the categories in the flat file. So if we click Housing, we see the questions which are asked about housing. And here, for instance, we see whether the cohort member, the CM, owns or rents their home or some other arrangement. We're clicking on that, we get to see a full frequency count distribution of what the answers were. 42% of them own their houses outright, because cohort members are 55 years old by then. 34.5% are still paying off a mortgage, and 20% are renting. To download the dataset, you need to log in as a member. For instance, if we want to download this NCDS 9 dataset we've been looking at, we need to go back to the page which first described NCDS 9, this one. We click on it and we click Download / Order, and at this point you're invited to register as a user of the UK Data Service. You may have logged in already, but if not, you need to say at this point who you are and what institution you're with, and register a usage for your data. For instance, you might say, I'm working on a project examining whether childhood cognition predicts intergenerational social mobility. You must log into UK Data Service and register the usage for every new project that you want to undertake, but you can download more than one data set for each project. And you need to download the datasets for each sweep separately, except for the childhood sweeps which have already been longitudinally merged. And remember to use our recommended citation for the dataset's use, which is here. The citation for this study is University of London, Institute of Education, Centre for Longitudinal Studies, etc. And please let us know about all your resulting publications via this email address, clsfeedback@ioeacuk. We recommend that you carefully organize your data files you've downloaded by storing them in separate folders corresponding to the participants' ages. So you can have one folder for the childhood data set, another folder for the age 23 data set, age 33, and so on. In the next video, we'll show you how to merge them all into a longitudinal data set in order to use them for your research. So to recap, to access data from the UK Data Archive, you need to create an account, state the purpose of the project, find your data sets of interest, agree to the data security and other policies, and then download the data and supporting documentation in either SPSS or Stata, or there's other formats like comma-separated values. The data are available separately by sweep, so they're all cross-sectional data sets except for the first 4 sweeps, which are already merged into one childhood data set. And guidance on how to merge the files is available in this webinar and supporting documentation. And data and documentation for NCDS are available from the UK Data Service, are also available from the CLS website.